Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Bird 91. Let me go back a little bit so you can see me. We're talking to you guys about Nikki and Jamie. Nikki has responded and dropped her story on her Instagram. And so she didn't do a video, but she responded via Instagram stories. It's quite interesting because I was going to drop a video before I left to go to Jamaica. I'm currently in Jamaica right now. I'm in a hotel. And I was going to drop a video saying, it's been 6 days and we have not heard from Nikki. It's now the 7th day and we've heard from Nikki, like the walls of Jericho coming down after 7 days, after 7 times going around. Look, can I be real? My honest conclusion before I go into anything deep, I think there's wrong on both sides here. I think people choosing Nikki and said, I knew Nikki was, it's absolute bollocks. I'll be honest with you, I'm just going to be real. I think people choosing Nikki's side instantly without really considering all the facts and the figures, for me, is naive. Both of them are problematic. I said this in my review at the time. I said there's the accountability that Jamie has to take. There's accountability that Nikki has to take. In what Nikki addressed, there were parts that that she failed to address, and that were not cohesive or coherent with what was provided as receipts. You know what I'm saying to you? And there was also situations with Jamie, which we had done a whole video on, and I said about he needs to be accountable. Take aside the abuse, he needs to be accountable financially. Right, that he was way too invested in trying to have the kids a part of his YouTube channel. He needed to learn how to pivot, and he needed to do that very well, right? And so, you know, when I go onto the internet, I go onto Twitter, and I see how, you know, some black women are just so like in. I knew she was telling the truth. I knew it, and I'm like, what did you read? Because if we go through it, there's 10, 12 slides. If we go deep into it, right, and go deep and break it down, which I've done some notes on. Both of them don't look good in this. Both of them don't look good in this. So this is a case of both parties being a problem. But I do believe that there was some abuse on her side, right? I do, and it's interesting because when I was going to do the video, I was going to do a video, and I was going to take notes from TikTok videos. And it's interesting that she used the words reactive abuse, and I was like, well, sis, if you took 7 days to bring a response to Nikki, to your ex-husband, Jamie, I expect there to be receipts. The receipts were lacking. Why did you take 7 days then? To address what he did, why did it take you 7 days to respond to what he said and you didn't provide no receipts? What was the point? You know what I'm saying to you? So for me, it's like 7 days, no receipts, you know, and then, you know, using certain language, which I felt like what the TikTokers were using, because I went into TikTok and I wanted to hear what the response were, and I said, "Oh, reactive abuse." I said that is what they really dropped it in her, and then she used the same wording in her story. I said, "Oh, I wonder if the TikTokers got to her. I wonder if the TikTokers got to her. That you know what she was reacting to the abuse that she got." Yeah, I'll be honest with you, they're both a problem. You know what I mean? They're both a problem. So we're gonna go through it. We can go through it. We can, you know, go through what was said on her page, and you know, we'll break it all the way down and stuff, and give you guys a breakdown a bit. All right. You know, I think, yeah, let's go to the page. But listen, if you're new to the channel, do me a massive favor, like it, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate y'all, and we wanna be able to help educate as well as you know, entertain y'all going forward as well. All right, so don't be afraid to press that like button as well, and share this with somebody, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We're trying to get to 100K. Would love for you guys to help us get to that. And if you haven't done so already, join the membership as well. Okay, all right, guys, because we want you guys to be part of these. All right, cool. Let me get this up, get this going. Sorry, let me get this one up on here, and then we'll get the conversation flowing. So, because for me personally, both of these people are problematic on both sides, and I'm not trying to choose a particular side. Hold on, let me just do this. Sorry, I'm not trying to choose a particular side, because if I choose a side, they'll both let me down. You understand what I'm saying to you? All right, cool. Let's go through what she said on her Instagram, and then let's look trying to break it down. So her first one, and I can't post it because obviously I haven't got my laptop because I haven't got my charge, guys. So I do apologize. So the first one, she says, I made a video responding to the allegations. I was ready to press post, but for the sake of our children, I'm not going to engage in a back and forth online. I'll share context that was missing from this video and leave this subject alone. I want to first start there. She says, I would have made a video, but I didn't want to engage in a back and forth. Well, we're still backing and forth. Video or no video, once we respond by story, it's a back and forth. And that was my first indication that this is not going to go well. Because they've already said, I don't want to go back and forth. But what you're still doing back and forth, because the moment you go to contradict him, whether you're right or wrong, it's a back and forth. You can't avoid a back and forth, right? So first and foremost, video or no video, it's still a back and forth. I'd rather did a video, personally, right? Because all of us have screenshotted your story, and your story's up for 24 hours. Yeah, so it's no different to what he did, putting up a video and then taking it down. Because people have already screen recorded it. I've done a video where I've pretty much broken down the whole of his hour and 50 videos. So it's not gone nowhere, and neither is your story. So nobody's clean in this instance. Exactly what I'm trying to say. This, I don't want to go back and forth. You're not high and mighty because you didn't do a video. You're not high and mighty because you didn't do a video. You're in the same position. She goes on to say, I had no contact with him since he posted that video, nor have I threatened legal action. So he didn't take it down based on her legal action. He took it down. Why? I don't know. He hasn't made a statement as to why. I really wish he would make a statement as to why he took it down, because you started it, finish it. Yeah. Jamie removed the video simply because he saw that people weren't buying his story. Well, to be fair, actually, a lot of people did buy his story. On his actual page, many people bought his story. Right? There's a certain demographic that didn't buy his story, but yeah, most people on his channel bought his story. So, you know, that I don't think that's the reason. I'm not saying that's not the reason why. I'm not saying that's the reason why. I'm just saying that a lot of people did buy into the story. That could be the reason why he took it down. Who knows? But hey. Second slide, she says, I felt something wasn't right in my marriage, but I didn't know what it was I was experiencing. Then in June 2019, I came across the podcast Love and Abuse, where I discovered what emotional abuse was. I made a mistake of telling him I knew he was emotionally abusive and probably a covert narc. I never cheated on Jamie, and he knows that, but he was quick to run a smear campaign through the community about why we broke up. Now, I want to pause it there first and foremost. She said there was something wrong, not right in their marriage. Okay, cool, but didn't know what she was experiencing in June 2019. Now, let's be very real here. You hit him before 2019, right? Right? Where he claims that where you apologize for hitting him, it was before 2019, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, that there's a bit of both on each side, because you're describing something about 2019 and saying that you came across a podcast and you had been emotionally abused in the relationship. But whilst you've been emotionally abused in the relationship, you'd also had hit him. Right? Now, someone might say, well, that's reactive abuse. Well, where's the proof? Where's the proof that she was reactively responding to her abuser? Where's the proof? Okay. All right, cool. She said he was quick to run a smear campaign for the community about why we broke up. Now, again, maybe the community, I'm missing it here. Maybe they have a private community. If I'm aware, he didn't say anything for 4 years. You know what I mean? So what did he quickly run a smear campaign? Because up until 4 years, he hasn't said anything that was smearing you. In fact, actually, I watched videos of the past of him talking about some of the allegations. He didn't even bring you in like that. So where is the running of the smear campaign against your name, except this particular video? Where has it been? Even when he was accused of abusing you, he still didn't run a smear campaign against you. So unless I'm missing something, unless there's a private conversation, unless there's a private community, unless there is a Patreon community or whatever that we don't see that speaks about this smear campaign, what are you talking about? What smear campaign? Because it's been 4 years before he said anything. Right? It's been 4 years since he said something. Sorry, let me just put it back. So for me, I'm still a little bit confused by that. Right? So I'm looking at it again, and I'm going, okay, so what smear campaign? You're gonna have to be specific to let us know where the smear campaign is. In fact, I can go back because I produced a video of Summer Aku vlogs, and she was saying this at the time. She said when they broke up, what our good sis Nikki did not do is come out and defend her husband when there were allegations made against him. right? There was none. And so what happened, she was saying that Nikki should come out and say X, Y, and Z, defend her ex-husband and say, hey, that's not what it is. So there is evidence out there, which you go watch my last videos I've done, where another vlogger has said, well, hold on a minute, you haven't actually defended him, and the smear campaign's against him. So the last 4 years, he hasn't said anything, he's only said it now. So we're a little bit confused as to what we mean by what is this smear campaign you're talking about, right? And that's a good point, Crystal. Hopefully that doesn't mean keeping the children away as well when she said she hasn't had contact with him. Hopefully that doesn't mean that too, right? Hopefully it doesn't mean that too. We're hoping that doesn't mean that, right? Her next slide says, I came to the house to collect some clothes and wanted to have a conversation. He kept calling me a slut and to get out of his house. I then requested that he drops the girls at the supermarket car park for changeover, and he says he would rather do it at the police station. That this wasn't court ordered. Okay, so I'm assuming this is when she came to collect her house, come to collect some clothes and wanted to have a conversation. He kept calling her a slut to get out of the house. So he kept on calling you a slut to get outside the house, and instead, what happened when he video recorded him coming out and saying "get out of my house," not saying slut, you then slapped the phone out of his hand. Do you see why I have a bit of a problem with this? Let's just rewind that. You came to the house to collect some clothes, wanted to have a conversation. He kept on calling you a slut. Let's say this actually happened, because I'm not going to deny this. This potentially could have happened, so I'm not going to deny it. Then he gets his phone out and then comes out saying, you know, Nikki, get out my house, right? You snatch the kid from the mum, you take the kid, and you walk over, by the way, you walk over and slap the phone out of his hand. Hold on, guys. There's a sound coming behind. I didn't want to hear that. So, you know, so then, you know, okay, so let's, you know, that's the reactive abuse they're talking about, right? And then, okay, so she says obviously that he requested they drop the girls at supermarket car park changeover, and he said he would rather do it at the police station. I don't know. At this point, I'm highly upset because why would you want to inflict that trauma on our daughters? Having changed over with their parents at a police station every week, he just wanted to manipulate their minds and paint the picture that mum was dangerous and that dad needed protection. Well, that's what he was saying, because he had suffered some abuse from your hand, apparently, allegedly. Yeah, so allegedly he's saying that, you know, you had abused him in the past and there have been some issues of that, right? So now she goes on to describe that I smacked the camera out of his hand because I was in a vulnerable moment and I didn't want to be recorded. I mean, that's a fair point. Your vulnerable moment, you know, you're having an argument, it's not looking good. You slapped the phone out of his hand. I get it. You were angry, frustrated. Okay. This was a pattern where he constantly violated me by filming me without consent. It started early at 18. Then when I gave birth, he posted my very personal birth vlogs without giving me any time to emotionally recover. Okay. I remember begging him to give me time with our new baby before we shared her with the world, but he told me to stop sabotaging the channel. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but let me say this now first and foremost. If this is true, that's very problematic on Jamie's part, right? Your kids are not your financial golden goose egg, right? And there should be a time of acknowledgement, sorry, a time of agreement with my partner as to what time we actually agree to release certain vlogs, especially if they're concerning very personal moments. So I would agree that, again, if that's what has been done, that is out of pocket and disrespectful and very manipulative to do so, right? And it's not concerning of your partner and not taking into account your partner's feelings in that place, right? So that's another aspect in that, right? When the cameras were rolling, Jamie was very sweet to me, but behind the lens, he was highly critical, okay? My body after children quickly became a main topic, and he expressed me needing to hit the gym 3 weeks postpartum with Ava. Now, let me be very real with you. I can see how this could be true. Can I be honest with you? I can see how him being critical of her could be true, right? I can see how him being critical of her could be true, and I say that because when he released his text messages, there was some criticalness of about her working and her not doing her full potential and her not bringing money in. So it's highly plausible that he may have been very critical about her and her body in that case. But I said it's possible. I'm not gonna say it actually happened, but I'm saying it's again possible because of what he had said in those texts that he showed us, right? Yeah. Said obviously when the cameras were rolling, okay, so it said he blamed me for absolutely everything. Nothing I could do was right, and I was at fault for anything that went wrong in his life. Now, I actually agree with this point. She made this point, and this point actually coincides with the text that he released. In the texts, she actually says that in the texts. She actually says that in the text. That, you know what, you make everything out to be me. I'm the issue and I'm the problem. And I have to be honest with you, going through his video for an hour and 50 minutes, what accountability did he take? Going through his video for an hour and 50 minutes, what accountability did he take? None. So again, I can see how he would blame her for everything, because he did blame her for everything in the video. He did not take any ounce of accountability in terms of what he contributed and what he did. And for me, that was problematic. So I can see how this could also be true. I can see that as absolutely be true, where he says he blamed me for absolutely everything. Nothing I could do was right, and I was at fault for anything that went wrong in his life. I can see that because he's doing it in the video. He's actually, in the video, he's actually crying about the fact he can't do videos with his children anymore. Not because he can't spend time with them in the video, but because he couldn't make money off them. I have to be honest with myself and say that's a problem too. That was a problem too. Yeah, so I have to keep it balanced and say that was a problem at the time too, right? Okay. Says obviously shortly after the encounter, he tried to get a restraining order on me. Not only did he put himself down as a protected person, but also our 2 young daughters. Okay. If he was successful in obtaining that, I could not come within 200 meters of them. Yeah, that's what usually a restraining order does. You know, restraining order usually does restrict the person from coming close to the person. And if he feels like you've been abusive and have been physically abusive, he probably doesn't want you to be around him or the kids, right, in some shape or form. Okay, goes on to say his mother enabled his behavior and signed as a witness that she saw me beating him in front of the children. The clip you saw of me smacking the phone, and they took this evidence to court. So the mother said that she was an eyewitness to him being beaten by her. Woo, baby, that's a tough one. I don't know. Again, I haven't really seen much of the mother to be able to determine if she's a good eyewitness or not. But it's not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good if the mother witnessed you hitting him, and I guess what she's trying to say is that she's lying. You know, if the mother was around when she saw you hit the phone out of his hand, you're right. What else did she see? What else has she been around to see? She said his mother enabled his behavior and signed as a witness that she saw me beating him in front of the children. And am I assuming that the brackets means a clip you saw of me smacking the phone, and it took this evidence to court? I put a counter complaint on him, and it was up to the judge to decide. He knows there's nothing I love more than our daughters, so he used that footage to silence me. We never went, and this is what confused me on both their parts. I'll be honest with you, on both their parts is mad confusing. Okay, she goes, I put a counterclaim on him, and it was up to the judge to decide. He knows there's, and my thing is, Counterclaim. What are we counterclaiming here? If he's claiming that you abused him, what are you counterclaiming? That he abused you? I put a counter complaint on him, and it was up to the judge to decide. He knows there's nothing I love more than a daughter, so he used the footage to silence me. In what way, I wonder? We never went before a judge. Instead, he had his lawyers present an undertaking, which conveniently included that the children could continue being filmed for YouTube. Okay, so let's keep it a buck here, yeah? I get both sides of the problem here. I get her perspective on wanting to protect the kids from being on the TV, on YouTube, and being on the online as much as possible, right? And I think it's also possible that, you know, Jamie wants to exploit the kids a bit as well, right? I think it's highly possible that both truths can be right. It's highly possible that also that, you know, Nikki is very much aware that the kids bring an income to Jamie and she wanted to cut him off at the knees. It's also very highly plausible that both of them are playing the game, right? It's very plausible that both of them understand this game, right? And are cutting each other at the knees, right? Very plausible. Damn, we're only in slide 5 or whatever of like a million vibes. And just goes, so he knows that which conveniently included children could continue being filmed for YouTube. It also included that we couldn't mention one another or our relationship online for 12 months. We both signed it because I had no intention of making this public and didn't want to risk the chance of our girls, of seeing our girls. He had been free to speak on this since 2020. I don't get this beef because, and again, like I said, I think they both could be exploitive in some shape or form, right? Now, it's how much you believe that you're exploiting them. Now, he may have done 20 videos, maybe done 4. I heard someone say that she's done 4 videos, he's done 20. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, my thing is, first and foremost, I said this before, my accountability for Jamie is that he should shift his content. But at the same time, I also understand, why is Nikki so pressed about the kids not wanting to film? She should be asking the kids whether they want to film or not. There should be a testimony of these kids. Do they want to film or not? Right? So that should be the testimony, first of all. The kids asking the kids, do you want to film? Do you like filming with daddy? That should be what it is. Nikki shouldn't be making the excuse and saying the kids are being exploited when she hasn't asked the kids what they really want. Now, of course, and the reason why I'm saying that is because what she says next after about if he wants to use the kids, he should pay them. I said, wait, hold on a minute. What? They're your kids. You know what I mean? Like, they are your kids. Like, you're doing a family blog, and I get it. I'm not saying that the kids shouldn't have some money or some funds or whatever. And maybe I'm coming from an African background as well. So, you know, that aspect too. You know, so, you know, I can get where some people might have a different perspective. Someone said the kids can't consent. Well, they also can't tell you that they don't want to be on camera either then. If they can't consent, how do you take on the perspective that the kids don't want to be on the camera too? If they can't consent, how do you also say that they don't want to be on the camera? How do you make a decision to say the kids don't want to be on the camera? Well, how do you know that? Think about what you're saying. You're trying to tell me that they can say no, but they can't say yes. They can't consent, but they can be letting you know they don't want to be on camera. You can't have both. You can't have it on one side, not on the other. They've got to be either they can consent or they can't consent, or we're making an executive decision that we believe this is best for the child, right? So then this becomes an argument about whose perspective is correct. Do you get what I'm saying to you? This becomes a perspective of whose perspective is correct. Is yours or mine correct? right? That's the question, right? That's the question, is whose side is correct? If you believe it's exploitative, but I believe it's not, because since the kids can't consent, then we are at an impasse. You know what I'm saying? We're at an impasse, right? We're at an impasse. We're both right and we're both wrong, because none of us can actually fully deep whether these kids like it or not. You get what I'm saying to you? Or whether how much the kids want, or how much the kids want to be involved, right? So this situation is between both parents. You know what I'm saying to you? It's between both parents. And so I'm saying neither are wrong, neither are right. I get Nikki's point of view. The kids are too young, don't expose them, etc. I feel that. And on the other side too, I also understand that factor. Hey, look, if they're not saying anything, if they're enjoying themselves and we're having videos where naturally we're out, we're just doing certain things, right? As long as we're not forcing them to do certain things, as long as we're not forcing the acting or not forcing certain behaviors, I'm also thinking that they're cool, they loved it and they enjoy it. I've seen some of the vlogs that he does. The kids run up to him, you know, they run up to him, whatever, you know, whatever, run up to him, whatever, and they're like, "Dad, I love you." And as long as it's not forced, again, I'm not against it personally. Do you know what I mean? Because as for me personally, I'm from a very young age, I was a person that loved acting. I loved being in front of the camera, I loved performing. I loved it. So if you put me in front of a camera at 6, I'd have been enjoying it. Even at 4, I'd have been enjoying it, because I used to dance from a very young age. I was always performing, but maybe I didn't perform for a camera or wasn't pushed to do certain things. So again, I get both sides where, okay, how much can we put the kids on camera is a question, right? How much can we put the kids on camera? That's a question that has to be answered. How much can we put them on camera? And so I understand where Nikki's coming from. I'm not saying that she's wrong for her perspective at all. I'm saying this is a parental issue where both parties have different ideologies and we are agreeing to disagree, and no one's really right and no one's really wrong. Because if the kids can't consent and the kids can't say yes or no, since we're saying that, then really and truly it's up to both philosophies of the parent. And so long as both parents are respecting each other, I get it, right? And so I take back what I said earlier on about the payment of the kids. You guys made a very good point in the chat about paying the children. What they can do is put the money into a trust, right? So if he's earning money with the kids right now, the money should be going into, partly money should be going into a trust. I respect that and I love that point. I think it's a good point you guys made, and I love to add that to my argument and say, hey, do you know what? Let's take back what we just said. Let's take what we just said. In all reality, you know what? The money should go into a kid's trust, etc., etc. You know what I mean? It should go into a kid's trust. It should go for the kid's future, and it should go to the kid's future. Partly some of the money goes to him, partly goes to the children. That's it, right? So my thing is this, right? My big thing is this. Okay, my big thing is this. And that's a good point too. When they were together, there was no issue, and that's also a good point too. When they were together, there's no issue. Now she goes on to say, "Oh, it's because he goes on to say, oh, because he's exploiting the kids, and that's why he exploited her, so now he's exploiting the kids." Man, that's why a trust fund should be set up. That's why a trust fund or finances should be set up, and he should have to be transparent with the financial gains that he gets from the family sponsorships and videos. He should make that plain with Nikki, and then they should settle on a financial amount that should go into the kids' trust, and how much he gets as a salary or how much he gets from each one. Whether it's like a 70, 15% for the kids. You know what I mean? Right? That's fair. Yeah. So for me personally, I think what you guys is a great point is that, you know what? It should be a transparent conversation with Nikki. He should be saying, hey, I'm going to take 70%. I'm going to give 15 to each kid. Their money's going to go into a trust fund. They can access it when they're 18. And we agree on that. And you know what? They're going to do 2-3 videos a week, because one video is a bit little. I can understand that it can be a little bit little. 2-3 a week, we're done. You know, he can put as many as he wants, you know, and go from there, you know. So, you know, that's also a thing too, right? Someone says, stop babying this man. We all work hard. Most men work 2-3 jobs for their family. I don't know what point you're making, Sandy, because when parents become managers of their children and they go to Disney or they go to Nickelodeon, do you say the same thing? Do you begin to question that parent? When the children go into Disney, do we explain? You're asking for a high level of this thing, and I'm like, when they go into Disney, do we say the same thing? When they're on Nickelodeon, do we say the same thing? Right? When these kids are on these TV shows, do you hold them to the same account as you're holding a YouTube family? Forget how you feel about him as a man and why you think that what a man should be doing. My question is, those of you saying what you're saying, do you hold a family who lets their child become a Nickelodeon star, a Disney star full time? Do you hold them accountable the same way you're holding Jamie right now? You don't, so it's okay. We'll leave it there. You don't, so it's okay. All right. But in the end, he can't complain because he signed the sheet. And once you sign it, you agreed. He signed the sheet and said, I have no intention of making it public. He has been free to speak about 2020. And he signed a sheet about, I think, how many videos they can do in the end. So he agreed to it. You know, so, you know what I mean? There we go. So people are saying they're holding Nickelodeon children accountable. You've never held the parents accountable. Nash, you've never held the parents accountable, please. You never did. And we're not talking about when the children go AWOL. When the children go AWOL, that's after everything's happened. I'm talking about when they go and sign them up. Do you know what I mean? There we go. She then obviously showed an undertaking, and it says number one. It says, I undertake that I will not, and strike out these conditions that are not applicable. I will not commit. Is she striking this out, or is she saying that she's not? Because it doesn't look good. Okay, let me show you guys. Hold on. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Hold on. Oh, you're not going to see it. The undertaking that she showed, the X that she's put there, like she put the X's in, I will not undertake, I will not commit family violence, intentionally damage any property. I'm just saying, I don't know, that's a bit mad. And then she added other stipulations to the undertaking and said, this is where she then put the advisory about how many videos you can do per week, which is fair enough. I'm not going to be vexed at that. She said, I never kept him from the kids. I said, you can see them whenever you want. All I asked is that he stopped exploiting them. I saw how it affected me in the marriage, and I didn't want our kids to suffer the same confusion because that was totally different when the cameras were on. So she said that, you know, she felt like he was going to exploit the kids the same way he exploited her. So she felt exploited, and so therefore she projected that he would exploit the children too. In 2020, Jamie messaged my sister and was trying to get me back once he saw his views were still low. Despite using the kids for majority of his content, I had already filed for a divorce, but he wanted to change my mind. He came to my parents' house, we went for a walk, and he told me he wanted his family back. I said no. Our divorce was finalized in 2020 December. Since then, I've been negotiating their online presence and managed to get it down to 1 video a week featuring the kids. This was across all platforms, including YouTube, TT, and IG. I worked very hard to lower their online presence because I saw how it affects them. I initially agreed to him filming with the kids as long as he pays them a percentage, but he refused that offer. So, look, I mean, she's actually initially agreed to him filming with the kids, and he had to pay them. Cat, I really can't be. If she offered an alternative where she said you can now film with the kids, but you got to pay them, Cat, pay them. You know what I mean? This is what I'm talking about when I say about this. Is what I mean when I say about financial. No, not financial, but this is the part that concerns me about Jamie when it comes to finances. It's like it's really odd. She said, "Listen, you could." She said, "I initially agreed to him filming with the kids, as long as he pays them a percentage, but he refused that offer. Cat, pay them. Pay them. Why didn't you agree to pay them? Why did you want to fight that, bro? You could have easily said, let's put the money into a trust or put the money into a savings account for their future, put it towards their college funds. You get what I'm saying to you? Like, that should have been simple, right? And that's also true. I'm not sure when it was. So they said the divorce was finalized in 2020, but she said, but she was going on like, yeah. Jamie said the divorce was finalized in March this year. Nikki said it was finalized in 2020. That's very true. I don't know what, you know, I don't know who's. I guess obviously we need to have who's got the evidence. This can be checked. You know what I'm saying to you? So one of them is lying. Like I said to you guys before, one of them is lying because you can check this, right? I haven't got the thing to check. If someone could check it and hand it back to us, it's actually checkable, right? Somebody is lying because when it actually is finalized, they can tell us a date, and the dates are very vast. She's saying December 2020. He's saying 2023 March. Somebody lying. Okay, maybe custody. Okay, fair enough then. Maybe it was a custody. Okay, that's fair enough then. That's fair enough. That's fair enough. He claims I was vengeful. He claims I was vengeful, but after I left, he stole the channel. I thought the channel was his originally. I thought the channel was his originally. Changed the password to business email so I couldn't work with past clients, and changed our bank details on AdSense so the revenue from our past logs went to his personal account. I hope they discussed this beforehand because once you made it dual and you allowed her in, you should have been discussing this before you released anything, Cap. He get the vlogs for himself, leaving me with zero memory. Now this part that's a little bit ooh-wee. He said he kept the vlogs for himself, leaving me with zero memories of our children. Now, babe, can I be honest with you? You can download the videos. You can download videos. Just saying. Okay? All right? You can download videos. All right? Just saying. I requested my full birth videos, but he kept them from me for 3.5 years. So I'm guessing that he eventually gave it to her, but after 3.5 years. He used this as leverage so that I changed my stance on him making content with the girls. Part of the reason I vlogged, now this is part again. Part of the reason I vlogged was to have a memory diary of our babies as they grew, but he kept these from me too. Now, I want to say this first and foremost. Well, hold on a minute. Why were you vlogging these videos and putting them onto YouTube? Did you make them public or not? I don't know. I don't know 100%. Did she make them public or not? These videos of her blogging the diaries of her babies as they grew up. Did she put that on YouTube or not? And did they go public? Because if it went public, sis, weren't you exploiting them? You may call it what you want and call it a diary, but weren't you kind of exploiting them? You know what I mean? But I don't know if it was released publicly, those particular videos. You know, it says part of the reason I vlogged was to have a memory diary of the babies as they grew, but he kept these from me too. Well, then technically you would have been exploiting the kids too at the time when you were doing the videos. You may call it a diary, just a very nicer way of saying that you were taking videos with the kids in it as content. Because it could have been offline. That's what I'm asking. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Did it go public? I'm not sure. If it did go public, then you could have done this online. Right? The money was paying your rent. The money was put on the roof of your heads. You understand? I even asked for footage of my sister Sarah. He had all the hard drives and he told me they were destroyed. Now, if this is true, that's artless. Can't lie to you. I can't defend that if that is true. That is true. That's sickening and heartening. If you know you got videos of her sister who passed away, brother, and you've kept them, that's sickening and disheartening if you have done that. Can't lie, can't cap. Please keep in mind my sister isn't alive anymore, and they were the only videos I had of her. I had to look back and remember her. He knew our children and my sister were a very sensitive spot for me, so he would use these two things to control me. Interesting. Jamie's health issues never stopped him from partying with friends, never stopped him from taking trips overseas while I looked after our children. When I did ask for assistance, he would throw it in my face that I was the one who wanted kids. Now, you were the one that wanted kids, can't lie to you. But he also wanted them too. So I don't know where he going. I said this in my last video too. I said he can't say you're the only one that wanted kids when he wanted them as well. He wanted them. Right? He wanted them. So this whole thing about she just wanted them herself. No, Cap. You kept on talking about how you want to make a family. So you are also part of it. He can't put that on Nikki alone. Okay? I'm also agreeing. Where is it your health issues? You cannot work, but you can go and party. You're telling me you can party, but you can't work? You can go and party and travel, but you're sick. It's not looking good, is it? You can party and you can go and travel, yet you are sick. Oh yeah? It's not looking good. Okay? It's not looking good. All right? Now, in his video, he did say, you know, that she wanted kids, and he said he gave it to her to make her happy. He did say that. In his video, he said he gave her kids to make her happy. So this is the problem with it. And this is why I said about passive aggressive energy and why I said that he needs to be accountable and stand 10 toes down. Because when she asked for assistance, he said, you know, you're the one that wanted the kids. This is why, again, you also don't push somebody to want to have kids or even be married when they don't want to do this thing themselves, when they're not willing to put that foot forward themselves. Don't push nobody because they throw it back in your face. They always do, man or woman. They throw it back in your face, make you feel like an idiot for even asking. Okay. And then it says, oh crap, sorry. I even gave him, she said, so I find it interesting that he claims he's too sick to work a regular job. He's now doing Uber, so I don't know what the sickness is, personally. What is the sickness? I don't know what the sickness is. He never mentioned what the sickness is, so I don't know what the sickness is. Up until now, I don't know what the sickness is. An hour and 50, he never said what the sickness was. He just said, I've been diagnosed with health issues. And I'm like, what's the health issues? I don't know. We don't know what the health issues are. You understand what I'm saying to you? Up until now, we still don't know what the health issues are. She said, I gave him ideas on what he could film. I told him he could make video editing content as a great editor or work a traditional job. We all said the same thing. He could do the same thing. I'm not limiting his capacity to earn. I simply put my foot down and said, don't exploit our children for monetary gain like he did with me. Jamie kept dragging me back to court and writing complaints to my lawyers constantly. The legal fees he incurred were self-inflicted. His 40th birthday. On Jamie's birthday, the girls had school. They mentioned Dad was going to Sydney for his birthday. So the girls have mentioned to you that Dad is going to Sydney on his birthday, sis. He was aware she had a dental emergency. So I took the next available appointment, which happened to fall on Friday. I offered for him to take them instead, as it was an emergency, and he said he'd rather take them out for ice cream so he doesn't miss his flight. The appointment was at 5 p.m. I picked up the girls from the local ice cream place at 4:40, and we went to our appointment. Jamie then left for the airport at 5 p.m. to catch a flight to Sydney. Okay? Now, this is where the receipts were receipting, because, sis, he done told you about beforehand, and then he gets the receipt of you booking it after he already told you about his situation. And the kids done told you too that he going to Sydney. So you kind of already knew what was going to happen on Friday, babe. So you making the excuse that, you know what, you were going to take them. Well, I get what she's saying in here. She's basically saying that she didn't offer to take them, but he then said he will take them out for ice cream. So, I mean, if Jamie should provide the whole receipts, you know, and let's see if that's really true. She says the dad play group. At this point of co-parenting, I had reached my tolerance and wanted minimal in-person contact with him for the sake of Ava and Zoe. He would always have his phone out trying to bait a disagreement with me because I didn't want them being used in content. I asked him to put Zoe in school on Wednesday so I could completely avoid contact with him. One parent drops them off, the other one picks them up. This seemed like a great solution, but of course, he fought me on this too. Had there been work obligations restricting him from changing his schedule, I would completely understand. But it wasn't. He had only been to the play group one time. He could have made other arrangements for the sake of healthy co-parenting. I mean, I don't know about that. But okay, Disney. This part was a bit strange. Disney. I had to take legal action for my girls to even attend school at their ages. In Australia, you start school at 5 or 6, depending on how early in the year you're born. Jamie wanted them to delay another year so he could milk them for views while they were in his care. I said no. Interesting. We live in Australia, and California was a very far flight, and he had never taken them out of the country alone. I didn't want them to go, but I offered to come so the girls didn't miss out on the experience. But he knew if I was there, I wouldn't like him filming them as much, so he made co-parenting the issue. I wanted to put our issues aside and give the girls some happy memories with both parents. I brought up the matter of schooling because he took me back to court and forced me to send the girls to this very expensive private school. This was his request, and now I'm responsible for the expenses. Now, sis, you know you're lying. There's too many receipts in this particular space for you to lie like this, sis. The receipts are very clear. When he mentioned to you about them going to things, you said, first of all, the schooling, you don't want to take them out of school. But then the reason why you actually stated was not because of their schooling. It was because you felt like, okay, you felt like he was having all the new experiences with the children. You said it plain black and white. So how is it that you've come on here and then the receipts, sis, this one had a clear receipt. The other ones are a bit more grayish. This one is black and white. Disney was completely black and white, where you basically said outright, right? You said outright that the only reason I don't want to go is because he's going to have all the new experiences. Had nothing to do with what you're talking about right now. So I'm a little bit perturbed by that. Okay, right? Whether you're paying the expense or not, you're paying. And by the way, he said he put on the video as well 50-50. So I'm now responsible for the expenses. Are you responsible for the expenses, or are you responsible for half the expenses? Because he intentionally put 50-50 at the bottom, that they pay for the expense of the schooling. You both pay. She says, depression is not something I would ever take lightly. The comments I made on the recorded audio were not okay. Before he pressed record, he was calling me crazy, and I said I needed psychiatric help. Threatening to take full custody of our kids, so I stooped to his level. This isn't an excuse, and I apologize if the statements cause offense to anybody. You don't need to apologize to us. What do you need to apologize to us for? And that's a good point, Valencia. That's a good point. If he requested that school, why would you be the only one paying? That's a very good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. She said that I brought up the matter because he took me back to court and forced me to send the girls to this very expensive private school. Well, so he sent you there and took you back to court, and the court made you pay the full fees. The court made you pay the full fees. You mean to tell me he forced you to go to court to send them to a private school, and the judge was like, you know what? I want you to pay, darling. Just you, not him, just you. Come on. Anyway, so depression is not something I would ever take lightly. The comments I made on recorded audio were not okay. Before he pressed record, he was calling me crazy, and I said I need psychiatric help, threatening to take full custody of our kids, so I stooped to his level. Excuse. And I apologize if these statements cause offense to anybody. You don't apologize to us, you need to apologize to him, because you don't want to send it to him. Don't worry about us. You need to say it to him. Apologize to him, not to us. Why are you apologizing to us? You didn't say it about us, you said about him. You know? Long story short, this was very manipulative and calculated attack on not only myself, but this act will also cause collateral damage to our children. This was a 4-year-old clip, and now these clips will remain online forever. Well, so will your story, sis. So will your story be online forever. Because I've just done a video now. It's gonna be there forever. Right? So you're both, this is what I'm saying, they're both problematic people here. I can see where Jamie's wrong, and I can clearly see where Nikki's wrong too. They are both problematic in this instance, like I keep saying. I have moved on with my life. I'm in a loving, genuine relationship, and I'm finally at peace now. We didn't need to know why we didn't need to know you was in a loving relationship. Did we need to know that? Did we need to know that she is moved on in her life and is in a loving, genuine relationship? Right? I'm finally at peace. This smear campaign was made not only to garner sympathy for his audience, but to retrieve a stagnant YouTube channel, sell an unreleased children's book, and completely slander my reputation. And that's the same energy you used to cuss him out in that video. It's the same tone, same energy, same vibe, right? When she says this smear campaign was made not only to garner sympathy for his audience, but to retrieve a stagnant YouTube channel, sell an unreleased children's book, and completely slander my reputation, it's the same energy. Same energy. Jamie wanted revenge for me putting my foot down and restricting how often he posted girls online. It disheartens me that I need to even make these statements because most people with discernment can see for what it was. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to read this. To Ava and Zoe, I'm so sorry. She ain't sorry. You said what you said, right? You said what you said. You did what you did. You ain't sorry. You know what I'm saying to you? MT says, I'm unable to be balanced on this. What balance do you want me to be on this? I don't know what other balance you want me to bring. I've said both of them are problematic. I've pointed out where he was wrong. I've pointed out where she was wrong. What more do you want me to do, MT? What more do you want me to say? You put it in the chat. What more do you want me to say about the situation? If I've called them both out for being problematic, and clearly there are errors in both of their statements that they've made, I've corroborated part of her story. I've corroborated part of his story. I've said this doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense. Where is the unbalance that you're talking about? You put it in the chat for us so we can see what we're talking about. And hopefully maybe we can have a productive conversation about the comment you just made. Either that or you're just talking out your ass. You don't like my tone with Nikki. What tone am I taking? The tone that where someone actually hit somebody and is pretending as if they didn't hit someone and they didn't actually address it. That they abused somebody and they admitted it, that they abused the person by hitting them. You mean that tone? You mean the tone that I took with Jamie by saying that he needs to fix up and he needs to make sure that he actually makes money and that he needs to change his YouTube? Do you mean that tone? You mean the tone that I took for both parties and I was very stern with both of them? Is that the tone you're talking about? Because that's the tone I took for both of them, actually. I did a whole video for Jamie alone. So what tone are you talking about? You can't run that game around here because I try to hold as much balance as I can and I address both parties. And I've been actually really firm with Jamie, full on firm, to the point where people are actually pushing back on me and what I was saying about Jamie. There ain't no tone with Nikki solo. So however you feel about this Nikki situation is a simply your own issue. I've kept it fair with both people. I've cast out both and done a whole video for Jamie. I spoke about his accountability. Let it go, darling. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Okay, let it go. Okay, let it go. I can be condescending. You're absolutely right. It's one of my faults. I can't lie to you. I won't pretend. Am I more on Jamie's side? Well, there seems to be more evidence corroborating his story. So yes, I'm more on his side. I don't know what you're having to, Coach, but your tone has shifted. My tone is not shifted. I just corrected you, and you don't like being corrected. That is what it is. I'm borderline rude. No, I corrected your statement. You don't like being corrected. It's simple as that. I corrected your statement. Your statement was off. You tried to say something that was incorrect. I corrected you, and you don't like being corrected. You're gonna have to take it when you've been corrected. That is what it is. I don't like when people say stuff and they don't do their research. I've done whole videos of it. So when I'm addressing you, I'm like, you're moving mad because I've done already addressed the point on both of their sides. Don't accuse me of having a tone for someone when I haven't got a tone for someone. You know what I'm saying? I held both sides accountable, but it's okay. There's no DV at this point because they're not. Well, there wouldn't. Yeah, you're right. There wouldn't be no DV, but based on past what's happened, there would have been DV. So DV doesn't stop because you're no longer in a relationship. DV was DV. There was a DV moment. They're having DV moments potentially, right, in that relationship. So DV doesn't stop because they're not in a relationship. Whether it was 4 years ago, 10 years ago, if you're somebody has committed DV in a relationship, that's all it is. It doesn't matter about the time. MT said, obviously both problematic, but they came with first receipts, so it definitely affected people's view. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, it would have definitely affected our perspective. Yeah. I said this on a separate video. I said he needs to shift his content. It's just that simple. Like I can't have you crying, and that's why I said in my whole video, and I held him accountable. I said I can't side with you if you've had 3 years to shift your content. you've been knowing about this divorce was coming and whatever. For me personally, you can't keep crying about content that should have been shifted a long time ago. Your kids are not your golden egg. You know what I mean? He's a video editor. He's a photographer, a videographer. He could have and I said this already. He could have done tutorials, and his content on his channel was still getting pretty decent views. He was still getting 25K, 30K for some of the videos he was doing on his own. So all he had to do was focus himself and say, I'm rebranding and I'm shifting stuff. I'm gonna move away from the kids now because we've agreed that we leave the kids where they are. Instead, he focused on the kids. It's incorrect. It's wrong. As a parent, you got to be able to now shift your perspective. That's what I said about him from the beginning. You know, I said from the beginning. I wouldn't say she was lying all the way through, but the Disney one, she's lying. The Disney one is clear. There's too many receipts. The Disney one is too clear. The receipts are bang on there in it. So that's why I was saying she lied about that, because there was too many receipts on that one. Let's pray they both get the healing. I agree. Definitely. And she asked, what was the point of why he did it? Well, to clear his name, because previously I did a video on this as well. Previously, he was the one that was accosted for being the one that was abusive and a cheater. That was what was going round at the time, which is why I said that part of the video was to clear his name. He wasn't the one that was cheating, and he was not the one that was abusing. That's a fair point. Can't put a time limit on how healing goes. I agree. That's the point. Absolutely true, Rainer. That's a good point. He could literally change it around. He could change it around. That's why I can't buy. That's why I said that I partly see where Nikki's coming from, because if you can't pay the kids and also you can't deep that you need to change your content, I can't help you there. You can't put that on Nikki. You know what I mean? Like, you can't put that on Nikki, and that's why she's saying it's exploitive. And that's why I said I don't fully agree, but I do agree in some points, because it can look exploitive. Because why can't you shift your content? So he took one of his buff boyfriends. Said he looks like he looks like thingy from behind. Oh, what's his name? Oh, what's his name? The one that was with Lloyd Harvey, and I forgot his name now. It'll come to me later. That could be a fair point. Well, technically, they both have lost their income, haven't they? Because he couldn't do the videos no more. She can't do Fenty. That's why I said they're both petty. Now they both can't do it. And we both lost. You can't do Fenty. I can't do children vlogs. Michael B. Jordan, that's it. Yeah, probably one of the kids came and said, Dad, as she's dating Michael B. Jordan, his heart almost dropped in his mouth. So yeah, no. So I think for me, personally, there's faults on both sides out here. I've said this before. I think there's inconsistencies with Nikki's story on her post. I think that Jamie's got some inconsistencies with his video as well. And his over emphasis on money is a concern to me. You know what I mean? The video had no accountability and too much focus on money for me. I said that in my videos previously. For me, Nikki too, I feel like she rewrites history into her favor as well. So, and neither of these people got my vote. I'll be honest with you. Neither of them have got my vote, right? Neither of them. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. Like you guys, like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button. We'll leave you guys to it, man. But it's political. I can't lie to you, this situation. We'll be back maybe tomorrow night to another video. Appreciate it, guys.